What's going on, YouTube? So just last year, the GMC Yukon was heavily updated with new styling and new technology for this large SUV.
And now we finally had the chance to live with this luxurious SUV for the week.
So after 7 days, are we still impressed? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Like always, we'll get things started here with a quick spec dump. So under the hood of this Yukon, we've got the 6.2 liter V8 producing 420 horsepower. It's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and with the four-wheel drive system, the combined fuel economy is 17 miles per gallon.
Now the base price of the Yukon this year is $70,000, and if you're looking to buy one or any vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, this is a real-world 7-day review, so we have things to share such as our experienced fuel economy, our official Kentucky sound level reading, and of course, we'll take it out for a spin.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood, because a big part of why you want to buy the Denali Ultimate is the exterior and the super luxurious interior. Now, like we mentioned at the beginning, this Yukon was just recently extensively refreshed, and one of the big elements was kind of revising the grille and overall front end design to have the latest and greatest GMC design language. Now, what we have been testing this week is the Denali Ultimate, so that's the highest end version of the Yukon, and that's going to give you a really fancy looking design, which was, by the way, very well received by everyone we showed this to. We really like it as well. Also, the Sequoia owners in particular thought this was very handsome. You've got that Vader chrome finish across the front here, kind of smoked off, looks very premium. And then also very premium is the headlight arrangement. So we've got this stacked crystal LED design. We also have the bracket-shaped daytime running light and turn signal indicator with the animation effect that also plays when you get into and out of the vehicle. And you also have LED fog lights down below. And moving to the back, it continues with a very luxurious design.
Absolutely, and it's definitely very bold. We have a spoiler up here at the top, our wipers integrated underneath to prevent it from weathering. Denali is very prominent across the back. It actually replaces the GMC logo. And then let's take a look at our taillights. So our taillights are, of course, going to be very premium. These are standard on all models, and they are fully LED with your brake light, your turn signal, and your reverse light. They also have dynamic ability. And then down here at the bottom, I love the fact that we have quad exhaust outlets, and this pumps out a very nice sound, I will tell you. We'll talk about that in the test drive. As far as the torque rating, it comes in at 8,400 pounds for the standard wheelbase.
But perhaps the thing that stands out the most about this Denali Ultimate are these absolutely massive 24-inch alloys. They have a very bold multi-spoke design with kind of a mostly gloss black and little accents throughout. These really stand out, and again, everybody who saw these commented on them. This vehicle begins at 20s, and you can go all the way up to the 24s you see there. Now, as far as the mirrors are concerned, fully loaded with all the features as you'd expect, including auto dimming on the driver's side and power folding.
Now at the side, you're going to see that this Yukon is a massive vehicle. It's 210 inches in overall length in the standard wheelbase that you see here today. You can also get the XL, that's 225 inches in length if you need maximum cargo and maximum passenger space. Now, as far as design touches, we have chrome on our window surrounds, chrome roof rails up there at the top, and let's talk safety systems. So when it comes to that, all of your active safety features are standard on the Yukon. That will include things like adaptive cruise control, and furthermore, if you get the Ultimates, that's going to have standard Super Cruise, and we found that to work really quite well. It's free for 3 years if you get the Ultimate trim, and really I think it's a great feature to have on a road trip vehicle like this. But there's a super luxurious cabin that we need to talk about. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we have reviewed over 2,000 vehicles at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from humble to high-end, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, now to the inside. First, here's our key fob. It's just your typical GMC key fob. Of course, you have a smart entry system and remote start as well. Getting inside, there's no sensor behind the door handle, just a button there to push and unlock the door. And when you open it up, of course, you'll see the power deploying running boards pop out. Those are standard on this Denali Ultimate. Now, let's take a look inside this interior. Obviously, a very rich looking place, and that really begins with the seats. So the Denali Ultimate comes with a special wide grain leather, and it's in a special color. It's called Woodland Mahogany, a very high quality leather, very rich in appearance. You have the beautiful cross-stitching details and color contrast piping, as well as the Ultimate badging, and overall these seats are quite comfortable as well. Now the seats don't have a ton of adjustments. They're 12 ways of power with your 4-way lumbar support. You do have some additional functions, and one of the most important additional functions is the fact that the Ultimate gives you massaging abilities. But let's go ahead and climb inside. And now that I'm fully inside the interior, we can look at the rest of the materials. Starting with the door trim, you'll see the same leather with the cross-stitch detail across the armrest. That will go through here. And then at the top of the door trim, you'll see the nice touch of the two-tone finish. I really like that. Real wood trim, of course, through there. As we move to the upper dashboard, we have a full leatherette covering with stitching details. More of the beautiful open pore wood with the Denali Ultimate carvings throughout, and a soft touch through there. And then down through here, you'll find more leather and wood. The only thing I think is a little bit of a misstep with this interior is just the fact that this center area is covered with a piano black. It's already scratched up here on this press car, and it only has 3,000 miles. And interestingly enough, the much cheaper Acadia Denali Ultimate covers the center area with wood. So I definitely would like to see them add that to this Yukon Denali Ultimate as well. Nevertheless, let's fire it up with the metal push-button start. Let's jump right into the cabin's individual details. We'll start with the gauge cluster. This is the 11-inch digital gauge cluster. This was part of the update. It is standard across the entire lineup. You can change between several different designs. We also have the optional night vision on today's tester. It's a pricey option, but as you can see, that has, well, the usefulness at nighttime, not really during the day. But up there at the top, you also find a 15-inch head-up display. As we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got the latest GMC Denali badge steering wheel. It is thick-rimmed, nice, easy-to-use buttons, power tilt and telescoping, and of course it is heated as well on most of the trim levels. But of course, you buy a SUV this big because you need lots of storage, and that begins up here at the front with our center console. So I'll open up the console and we'll see inside we've got a lot of donuts. We actually have 17 donuts to be exact. The reason it doesn't have the full 2 dozen is because this is also the power adjusting console as well. So there's a little bit more storage behind there with a little bit of a drawer that you can pull out and hide your individual items. But regardless, this is still absolutely massive. As I fold that up and we look in front, we got our 2 cup holders, and we also have, of course, a wireless phone charging pad with a couple USB connections. There's a little bit of storage along the side here, but it's not a full pass-through. Now the shifter is up here on the column. Just pull down forward drive. You've got paddle shifters to shift manually. And when we head into reverse, here's our 360-degree camera system. This is included actually on every single Yukon for 2026. You've got several different views that you can choose between. No 3D spin though, I am noticing, and the actual display itself is rather small considering the overall size of the screen. Just press that P there for park. Now, of course, really a big element of the inside is this very big display. So it's 16.8 inches to be exact. So very large. Although the cabin itself is so big, it kind of seems like the right size. Now, it's nicely integrated into the dashboard, and included within the screen will be your climate controls. So you have a 3-zone automatic climate system. You can adjust the temperature easily with these physical toggles down below. Some of the functions, though, will be inside of the screen exclusively, including the heated seats as well as the ventilated seats. Of course, all the models will come with heated seats, and then ventilated seats will begin, I believe, at your AT4 trim level. Also embedded inside of the screen here is the volume knob. Now, one of the special things that you get when you choose the Denali Ultimate is the Ultimate sound experience. It's a Bose 18 speaker Performance Series sound system. Let's give that a sample right now. So overall, this is a very strong sounding sound system. However, both Mason and I thought that for the price tag, it still could be a little bit better. It tends to have the bass kind of overwhelm the rest of the audio profile. So if it was a little bit more balanced, that would certainly improve it. Of course, as Mason showed you, you even have speakers in places like the headrest here to improve that audio quality experience. All right, now zeroing in with the main infotainment system. This, of course, runs General Motors' newest system. It is an Android-based system. That means it has things like Google Maps built natively into it, or you can, of course, use wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay as well. Overall, this week, we did not have any performance issues with this system. It's very snappy. You have plenty of features, including, once again, Google Maps, which is kind of a go-to when we're inside of the vehicle. And I did also forget to mention earlier, you got a little bit more storage up here underneath of this hidden piece of leather. Wrapping up this cabin, we have an auto-dimming mirror. During our test, it's been a little blurry. I'm not sure why the digital camera system has been a bit blurry, but you do get that with the Denali Ultimate. And then I'll slide back the sunshade. Oops, wrong button. So this is the button to slide back the center console. I'll show you what that looks like since I already pushed it. And then the button in front of that actually will slide back the sunshade for the standard panoramic sunroof here on the Denali Ultimate. As you can see, it's a pretty large piece of glass, and the front panel does open up. Just be aware that on the Yukon, you don't get a suede headliner, even though on the less expensive Acadia Denali Ultimate, you get the suede headliner.
But now we've got to talk about the rear seats of this Denali Ultimate Yukon. Now when it comes to this, there's a lot of luxury, so let's go ahead and dive in. First, I want to talk about the space though. So what we're looking at is 42 inches of legroom, 37.5 inches of headroom. Those are both definitely very good figures. It's one of the largest full-size SUVs that you can get. And as you can see, this seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". I'm 5'9", and I brought along the official Car Confections ruler. The reason I do that is so I can get a realistic knee room figure, and I am sitting at about 9.5 inches of knee space. That's very good. Also, my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seats. Speaking of the seats, they do slide forward and back a pretty good distance. They also have the ability to recline a good distance. And if you look at this and say, that's not good enough of a seat, you can actually get the executive package here on the Denali Ultimate. That was a change they made for the refresh, and that will actually give you fully power adjusting second row seats with massage and seat ventilation. So we just have the standard arrangement, which is a manual setup, but you can get a lot more bougie touches if you'd rather have that. We also have the captain's chairs, as you can see, with a nice Denali engraving. And as far as overall seating capacity, that does mean that we're sitting at 7 passenger. However, certain models can seat 8. Now, let's talk about features. We have 2 cup holders up here at the top. We also have a new screen that's going to be located down here at the bottom. That's going to allow you to do things for your climate controls, as well as turn on your heated back seats. Ventilation is available. It's not on this one, though. We have 2 USB-C ports, 2 HDMI ports, and we even have a household style outlet. And while this screen, looks kind of cool, it doesn't really do much of anything. So I do want to kind of point that out. It's 8 inches and it just controls your climate. Now, one of the screens that does do something are your rear seat entertainment screens. Those are standard on the Ultimate models, and they have Android-based software, so they're very advanced, and you can do things like cast onto them, and they have built-in things like YouTube as well, so you can watch Car Confections. And then we have vents coming out of the ceiling. Take a look at the door trim. Leather from really top to bottom. You have that beautiful open pore wood, and there's also a ton of storage as well. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the third row. So in order to get back there, all you have to do is press this lever once, and then press it again, and then that will release the seat up and out of the way. Now, this is pretty convenient. It makes for a nice walk-through. However, I will say that it's inconvenient if you have a car seat installed. I actually have a 6-week-old at home, and you definitely cannot fold it like this. That's for sure. I'd prefer a tilting mechanism. Also, it'd be nice to have rear window sunshades, especially for this price. Now, let's go ahead and hop back here into the third row. Wow, This is a fantastic third row. What we're sitting at is about 35 inches of legroom, and the headroom is also quite impressive as well. So really a great third row. This is one of the best ones that you can get out there on the market. There are 3 seats back here, and they have that same beautiful leather detail. Now, as far as features, you have a cup holder over here. You have a little pad for your arm to rest on, and you also have a USB port on both sides, in addition to a vent. Now, I will say it is lacking a little bit in terms of features for the price. Once more, I wish it had power ability or a heated third row available. But overall, this is still fit for a king just because of how comfortable it is. Look at the thigh support back here. Walking up to the tailgate, you do have the ability to pop the glass independent, which I definitely appreciate, and I know a lot of you guys appreciate. Additionally, you have a hands-free power tailgate as expected. And let's talk about overall cargo capacity. That's really, of course, one of the reasons you buy a big vehicle like this is for that 25 cubic feet of space behind the third row, 72 cubic feet if you fold it down. By the way, of course, you do have a power folding third row. And then if you fold all the seats down, that's going to give you around 120 cubic feet of space. Now, of course, you can expand that up to 144 cubic feet of space if you choose the XL. So the XL is going to really maximize your room behind the third row and give you that maximum figure. Now, there are a lot of competitive vehicles that you could be cross-shopping this with, so we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. We've looked at all the full-size SUVs, things like the Expedition, the Tahoe, the Escalade, all of those vehicles, and we've ranked them in individual categories that might matter more to you. Things like cargo capacity, interior luxury, technology, powertrain choices, and value. And you can see the best options in each of those categories so you can really make an informed buying decision. So definitely check that out at carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. As far as cargo length, we're sitting at 89 inches behind Drew's 5'8" seating position. And this is a standard wheelbase, keep that in mind. From behind the second row, with it all the way back, 52 inches of length. From behind the third row, 19 inches. The width is still coming in at 50 inches wide, which is very good. And the height, 33 inches tall. Now, we do have an air suspension, so keep in mind you can lower this a little bit more. But as far as the load-in height, that's pretty tall at 35 inches. Underneath of the floor, there's a tiny bit of underfloor storage, not much though. There's also a household outlet, and then your spare tire is integrated underneath of the bumper. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate. In this test drive, we can't wait to discuss things like our real-world fuel economy, as well as good things like our sound level reading. We'll also be discussing everything that you can see on the screen right now. But first, we need to start with a hard acceleration.
And there's 60 miles an hour.
There you go.
Of course, the 6.2 liter V8 will put a smile on your face in terms of the sound, that's for sure.
So good.
So, of course, this is a classic GM engine, 6.2 liter V8, naturally aspirated, 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. Pretty good power as well. There are, of course, rivals that are offering more power at this point, but what they're really lacking compared to this is a lot of the character, I think. This is the soundtrack that people really seem to enjoy in a full-size SUV.
Yeah, it's not just people, it's definitely me as well. So, driving this around this week, I have to say it just really adds to the overall experience of driving a big, luxurious, tank like this. You feel like you're the king of the road, and that noise just really amplifies that experience that you're on top of the world. It's not that I mind the twin-turbo V6s in the competition, but this certainly is a classic experience that I really have appreciated. Now, they also are offering 2 other engine choices if you'd rather get one of those. You can see those on the screen right now. One of them is a diesel, and you also have a standard 5.3 liter V8. So, this is just going to be the upgraded engine that's standard on, your higher end versions like this Denali Ultimate.
And I do want to point out, since I see a lot of comments regarding this, this 6.2 liter V8 was recalled. That was in 2024 model year and some of the models before that. the changes that they made internally to it should be automatically applied to everything that was produced in 2025 model year and now with the 2026 model year. Now let's talk about the other element of the powertrain, and that's the 10-speed automatic. Just like in other GM body-on-frame vehicles, we've always had nice things to say about this transmission. It's got a lot of gears, but it doesn't get confused, and if you put your foot down, it'll downshift multiple gears at a time to keep you in the power band.
Yeah, and now we are on our designated strip of road to talk about ride quality. And I think a lot of you guys probably have questions regarding those huge 24-inch alloy wheels on the outside. How's the ride? Well, let me just go ahead and start by the technology behind it. So if you choose an AT4 trim and above, that will give you the magnetic ride control, so the adaptive damper setup. And if you choose the Ultimate, you will get standard air suspension. So that definitely helps your ride immensely. Now, normally with 24-inch wheels, you probably feel awful ride quality. But honestly, throughout the past week of us driving this around, I've been super impressed with the level of ride that this is able to deliver. Quite frankly, compared to most of the competition that has 22s and may not have an air suspension, I think this still may even ride slightly better, if not, right at the same mark, despite having those huge wheels. So I think we've been very impressed, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. We were skeptical when we first saw, 24s on these GM SUVs, but really they have a lot of technology behind them to make it a good experience behind the wheel.
I do also want to point out you can get 22s on the Ultimate trims, actually, if you would rather downgrade your wheel size to get better ride quality. So that is something I wanted to quickly point out. And let's get our sound level reading going 55. We have it on fan speed 1. The rear climate is off and all of our technologies on the seats are turned off. Excellent sound level reading. 52.4 decibels is what we are sitting at for this Yukon Denali Ultimate. Now, we don't sit here and guess how it compares to the competition or really any vehicle segment. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level reading, where we post all of the readings that we get across our reviews. And wow, that is a very good reading, that is for sure. That definitely places it as one of the quietest vehicles that we have tested in this full-size segment. This and really the Expedition seem to be kind of shooting it out for quietest. So we've kind of realized that too. It feels like you're kind of in an Escalade type of product when you're cruising along, and that definitely has a lot to do with the acoustics inside this cabin and the ride. All right, let's talk about fuel economy. So there are quite a few different ratings. As expected, it's not going to be fantastic. This particular model is sitting at 16 miles per gallon combined. The XLs sometimes do negatively impact the fuel economy, so keep that in mind. And what has been our real-world experience fuel economy this week? Well, we drove at 215 miles, and that's both mixed city and highway driving, and we were sitting at 15.1 miles per gallon. So that's certainly not fantastic fuel economy, but it is very close to whatever the EPA is saying at 16. So I would definitely expect to be sitting between 15 and 17 miles per gallon, depending on, how much city and highway driving you are doing. And since you'd be buying a lot of gas if you bought one of these trucks, you might want to go download Upside, a free cashback app. We routinely use Upside to save 10, 20, even 30 cents a gallon on gas in our area. We also use it for groceries and eating out with our family, so we can earn more and spend less on things that don't matter to us. It's super convenient and easy to use, and as an added bonus, Car Confections viewers get an extra 25 cents off per gallon of gas on your first tank by scanning the QR code on the screen or using code CarConfections25 when you sign up. All right, what's our airball and slam dunk, our least favorite and favorite element? Drew, kick us off with the slam dunk.
Slam dunk's got to be the Escalade level luxury. Really, throughout the week, it kind of just felt like we had an Escalade. In a lot of ways, this just absolutely nails the luxury experience. Of course, you have all that space as well, and it just, kind of is a fantastic overall luxury SUV.
Now on the flip side, we are going to say that you have a pretty Escalade-like price, that's for sure. We're sitting well past $100,000, so yes, you could get an Escalade for this type of money, as well as a lot of luxury products. All right, so after a week, do we like it better, the same, or worse? Well, I think everyone here can agree that we do like it better. Now, I think there's kind of, maybe a little bit of an irrational piece. I like everything about this, really, besides the price. If I kind of factor in the price, I'm like, okay, that's kind of a lot. But I really love the rest of this truck. It is so, so good, and I love driving it. You feel like the king of the road. All right, so let's talk pricing. So you can see the full lineup of prices on the screen right now, but we're started around 70 grand, and of course that elevates up very quickly if you choose things like this Denali Ultimate. This has a starting price of $103,900. Now, this particular model has a couple options on it, not all the options, but a couple of the options, and we're sitting at $108,000. And if you're curious as to where this is manufactured, it is manufactured in the US. It's built in Texas. Now, if you're looking to buy a GMC Yukon or any vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you should do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use if you plan on doing dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that down below in our video description, carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's talk about resale, reliability, and the warranty. First up, let's talk about resale value. GMC as a brand is rated at 55.81% of expected retained value after 5 years and 60,000 miles, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles at 21.63%. Now, those are actually above industry average. However, it's not going to be quite class leading, such as Toyota, Honda, or Mazda.
Now, we also have reliability data with our combined reliability index. Updated with the latest 2026 information, GMC is rated slightly below overall industry average against all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about how all of that is calculated, you can find that at carconfections.com. Now, let's talk about the warranty. That's going to be a 3-year, 36,000-mile basic warranty, a 5-year, 60,000-mile powertrain, and you do also get 1 complimentary service visit. And guys, that wraps up our 7-day review of the 2026 GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate. If you enjoyed hearing our real-world impressions after living with it this week, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support because you make this all possible. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.